PGR is a game that you can enjoy without relying on meta picks. But why play with your faves when you can dominate the leaderboards with the biggest powerhouses the game has to offer? We've analyzed every S-rank Omniframe from launch to summer 2024 to answer one question. Which characters are the very best? There are 5 energy types in PGR, and 4 classes. There's no character that does everything well, so we've ranked them according to their key role. We've assigned each S-rank a priority rating of low, mid, high, or very high. A rating of low represents characters who are already outclassed, but they're not useless by any means. They work in a pinch, especially if they have leap skills. Mid means this character is useful, but has better alternatives. They'll plug a hole in your roster, but you don't need to go out of your way to acquire them. High means this character is the best in their role. However, their power level is lacking compared to newer characters, or future competition will see their usage fall off a bit. Very high is the gold standard for PGR characters. If you don't have them yet, you should absolutely try to get them. These Omniframes are guaranteed to be the best at their role until at least the patch Cradle Parade, which debuts Lamia in summer 2024, and likely much later than that.
May the blessed light grant us new life.
Although acquiring leap materials can take some time, especially for new players, Luminance with her leap skills is the optimal support for the physical team. If you have Rosetta Rigor, Luminance will round out your team just in time for Bianca's debut around September 2023. Around the summer of 2024, Luminance will be outclassed by Alisa, a physical amplifier who can be earned for free anytime. If you've still got your new player S-rank selector, we recommend using it for Luminance. Unless you're watching this in the future when Alisa is already out, in which case you should probably use it to get Kamui Tenebrion instead. Do wait until you get your first S-rank for the base member target banner though. Priority, high, with leap.
No one can escape my bullets.
This man just can't catch a break. Entropy can go toe-to-toe with Lucia Crimson Abyss in many cases, but there's just no way for him to compete with the upcoming physical attacker Bianca. Get him if you love Lee, or lament the lack of men in this game. Priority, low.
Die! Scum!
Despite being an S-rank, Karenina Ember has already been outclassed in Global by the A-rank Lee Palefire thanks to his leap buff, at least if he's highly invested. It sucks since she has so many awesome coatings, but Karenina fans can take comfort in the fact that the cooler Karenina is here now. Priority, low.
Ta-da! Nanami arrives precisely when she means to.
Let's just get one thing straight. Nanami Pulse has some of the best coatings in the game, and her robot skates are rad as hell. Unfortunately, she's otherwise mediocre. Her other frame, Nanami Starfarer, way outclasses her, and Pulse's future leap skills can't change that. Priority, low.
I'll cut my own path with darkness!
Now in an interesting spot due to the presence of Karenina's Scire, Kamui Tenebrion is a solid dark tank for free-to-play players or those who don't have Karenina. It should be noted that the A-rank number 2121 at triple S rank, while not quite as powerful, is still a decent alternative. Dark tanks are complicated, so we'll come back to this later. If you've already got Luminance, or Alisa if you're watching this in the future, Kamui Tenebrion is probably the best choice to use your new player S-rank selector on. Priority, mid.
Finally, this is getting interesting.
Lucia Crimson Abyss's time in the limelight will come to an end with Bianca's debut. In the future, she'll receive leap skills that make her a lot more fun to play, but Bianca will remain supreme. But hey, you might decide to pull Alpha for her popularity alone, in which case you should note that she'll be on the permanently available S-rank selector that arrives during Across the Ruined Sea around September 2023. However, there are better options, unless you're a huge Alpha fan. Priority, low.
May God purify your sinful soul!
Nothing is more satisfying than Bianca Veritas's core passive. But as delightful as she is to play, she's already been edged out in Warzone by Selena Tempest at triple S rank due to Selena's great AoE abilities. On the bright side, she's a little stronger than Tempest otherwise. However, Vera Garnet, the lightning tank, actually outdamages Veritas, so Veritas is fairly low priority. Roughly in February 2024, Alpha's new frame will severely outclass Bianca Veritas. Like, a lot. Priority, low.
Raven Flash!
Lucia Plume is feeling pretty outdated in the Chinese version as of Lamia's patch, but she's still hanging on as the best ice attacker. Her teammates will be Wanshu Hypnos and Chrome Glory until Wanshu is replaced by Ayla's iced amplifier frame. Coincidentally, Ayla will actually outdamage Lucia Plume and will be free to obtain it any time as of January 2024, give or take. Plume is an available option on the earnable S-rank selector, and she's not a bad pick. Priority, high.
Whoever you are, come at me!
Rosetta Rigor has been holding her title as best physical tank for a while now, and will continue to do so at least until the middle of 2024. She becomes even better after acquiring her leap skills around September 2023. Ideally, she'll partner with the upcoming physical Bianca and live Luminance, until Alisa's debut. Rosetta's the only good physical tank option, so you'll definitely want to grab her. She's an extremely good pick from the earnable S-rank selector if you have or are planning to get Bianca. In fact, if you don't have her by the time Bianca's new frame debuts, we highly recommend using your selector on Rigor due to how strong Bianca is. Priority, high.
Join me in reshaping the world.
Luna Laurel is the best option for a dark attacker, for now. Pair her with Selena Capriccio and Karenina Scire, or Vera Rosen and Kamui Tenebrion. She far outclasses the next best attacker option, Watanabe Astral, but in late 2024, Luna will pass the Dark Queen crown to Lamia. It's nice to see the Ascendants looking out for each other. She's the final character available from the earnable S-rank selector, and not a bad choice. However, Rosetta Rigor has just a bit more longevity than she does, and the physical team will be stronger than Dark, at least until Lamia arrives anyway. Priority, high.
An excellent move, Commandant.
Chrome Glory is the best ice tank and, if my Twitter feed is to be believed, a certifiable hot man. He has high survivability and does a great job taking over during Lucia Plume's downtime. No other ice tank comes close, so if you're missing him, you should try to get him. Priority, high.
I'm gonna enjoy crushing every one of you to pieces!
Vera Garnet is the strongest damage dealer of the Lightning team despite being a tank, until Alpha's new frame around February 2024. Before the Alpha era, Garnet alone can carry the Lightning team. Still, as a tank, Garnet's place on the team is secure. She pairs nicely with either Bianca Veritas or triple S-rank Selena Tempest while they warm the bench for Alpha. Her support will be Liv Lux until number 21's new Feral frame steps in as Lightning Amplifier around April 2024. Garnet is available on the S-rank selector from Wintry Shackles, and if you don't have her when Alpha debuts, definitely grab her for free at that point. It's because Alpha is so powerful that we recommend Garnet so highly. Priority, high.
The apocalypse will end with me.
Hereon marks the beginning of characters who are on another level. All S-rank Omniframes from Live Empyrea onward have something called time lag calculation built into their kit, often referred to as time stop by other players. Time lag calculation refers to when the stage timer is paused during certain animations. This hugely raises the damage potential of any character with it. Live Empyrea was the very first amplifier in PGR, essentially a better, more offensive version of a support construct. Kuro didn't do things by halves when they made her, and she's still quite powerful in the Chinese version to this day. That's why she's the first on this list to be awarded the very high priority rating. Empyrea can easily carry new players to victory with her strong offensive and healing presence both. Pair her with Nanami Starfarer and you'll have a pretty good time. Leap Hailfire with his leap skills makes for a good Da Vinci holder for the other two until Lee's future frame arrives. If you miss her 100% banners, you can acquire her for free in the patch Wintry Shackles, which debuts Alpha's new frame. However, if you're missing Vera Garnet by that point, you may want her instead, especially if you're missing Lee's new frame and Nanami Starfarer. Priority, very high.
I appreciate you letting me play as the soloist in this concerto.
Selena Capriccio is in an interesting position. She's an S-rank amplifier and the best option for her role, but only at high levels of investment. Fortunately, Selena can be obtained and evolved for free given enough time. To do so, earn her Ember shards through Recitativo di Fantasia to unlock her and buy additional Ember shards with trade vouchers and Phantom Pain scars. Free-to-play players can get her to double S-rank this way, or even triple S-rank if you're very, very patient. That said, if you intend to quickly get her to triple S rank, or beyond, you'll definitely want to pull one copy of her from a banner first before taking advantage of the free shards. On the other hand, if you don't want to dedicate that level of time and investment to getting triple S rank Capriccio, Triple S rank Vera Rosen is a better support option. Priority: high with investment, and if you can't invest, mid for free-to-play players. After all, free is free.
Hello! Would you like to feel my firepower?
Nanami Starfarer is leagues above Pulse as a fire tank. She's the perfect complement to Live Empyrea and Lee's future frame. No matter how strong your fire team is, without a good tank, your team will deal a lot less damage. Nanami Starfarer is the best fire tank for the foreseeable future, making her a worthwhile investment for your fire team. The biggest downside to the fire team overall is how huge the investment cost is compared to the likes of Physical or Lightning in the future. New players may struggle to get Empyrea and Starfarer if they don't already have them due to how little they're seen on free S-rank selectors. Meanwhile, brand new players can easily get Live Luminance and Rosetta Rigor for free as of September 2023, so they'll only have to pull for a single character, Bianca, to have an extremely strong team. Priority: high.
Who's here and say cheese? Oh, turn it off! Turn it off!
Karenina Scire. Well, remember how we said the dark tanks were complicated? We'll come back to her in a moment. Priority: mid for low investment, and high for high investment. After Scire, we enter the golden age of extremely powerful characters. Every S rank that debuts after this point is the absolute best in their assigned role and worth prioritizing.
Tracking, analyzing, returning. Beginning extermination!
Physical attacker Bianca puts every physical attacker before her to shame. Pair her with Rosetta Rigor and Live Luminance with her leap buff until Alisa takes Liv's place. Priority: very high.
Cease your existence! At the end of time!
Fire attacker Lee replaces his own Pale Fire frame and razes the ground with Live Empyrea and Nanami Starfarer. Priority: very high.
Do you understand the essence of Aylaism yet?
Ice Amplifier Ayla brings a much needed power boost to the Ice team and replaces Wanshu. Despite being an amplifier, she deals more damage than her two allies Lucia, Plume, and Chrome Glory. And not only that, she can be obtained for free. Thanks, Ayla. Priority: very high.
This fight better not be a boring one.
Lightning Attacker Alpha returns to the limelight as the best Lightning DPS. Pair her with Vera, Garnet, and Live Lux until number 21's new frame comes out. Alpha is the strongest damage dealer PGR is going to see for quite a while, and just having her alone will change the game for new players. Priority: very high.
Your colors! I like them!
Lightning Amplifier number 21. After nearly 3 years, A-rank support Live Lux is finally replaced with number 21's Lightning Amplifier frame. She can't compare to the sheer destructive power of Alpha, but number 21 will make Alpha even better. Priority: very high.
I will make good use of this power.
Alisa replaces Live Luminance to support Bianca and Rosetta. Bianca is a higher priority than Alisa, but Alisa can be obtained for free, permanently, so don't skip her. Priority: very high.
Get out of my sight!
Luna has passed the torch to Lamia, who devastates her enemies along with her somewhat complicated dark team. Pair her with Selena Capriccio and Karenina Scire, or Vera Rosen and Kamui Tenebrion. Priority: very high. While PGR favors balanced teams and using proper elements per stage, we understand that new or returning players may be short on BC and will need to be extra choosy. In those cases, we recommend two constructs to prioritize above all the rest: Lightning Attacker Alpha and Physical Attacker Bianca. Alpha monopolizes field time due to her high damage output, the way her orbs work, and her frequent time-stopping signature moves. In fact, it's often best to keep Alpha on the field as much as possible, which means she can even get by with A-rank teammates such as Chrome Arclight or Live Lux. Of course, she'll do more damage with the help of Vera Garnet or the Amplifier number 21, but due to Alpha's sheer strength, we recommend her with or without them. On the other hand, Bianca is extremely strong, releases a lot earlier than Alpha, and all her teammates are much easier to acquire for new players. Bianca's release marks the beginning of the era of incredibly powerful S-rank attackers. Both Bianca and Alpha will become even more potent once they receive new tank teammates. They haven't even reached the peak of their power yet. Wait, but what about the complicated dark tank Karenina Scire? While she has the potential to outdamage even Luna Laurel, there's a catch, which is why you have to watch this video to see exactly why you should or shouldn't go all in for Karenina.
世界で